Good morning and welcome to Entrepreneurs Hour, right here on WRFR 93.3 FM. Every week on Entrepreneurs Hour, we dive into stories of triumphs, challenges, and lessons learned, highlighting how local organizations and individuals are working together to foster a thriving business ecosystem right here in Knox County and beyond. Whether you're starting a business, growing one, or supporting the local entrepreneurial community, this show is exactly for you. Hi, everyone. My name is Chris Austin. I'm your host and president of Ardea, proud sponsor of this show. Ardea is located in Rockport, and we help small businesses and nonprofits with bookkeeping, large-scale accounting, payroll, payment solutions, and tax services. I'm also the president of the Rock Coast Entrepreneurs and a member of the NSBA Leadership Council, representing Maine small business community on a local, state, and national level. I created the show to help entrepreneurs navigate the complexities of running a small business by providing a platform where entrepreneurs can share their journeys and highlight some amazing partners in our region, showcasing the impactful ways they're helping small businesses and entrepreneurs succeed. Let's learn, inspire, and support one another as we continue to build a stronger small business community together. Now, let's get started with today's show. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I'm your host, Chris Austin, and I'm excited to get started for today's show. I have Fletcher McNaboe. She is with a fantastic organization called City and Harbor Real Estate, and I'm really very excited to get started and introduce you to her. So Fletcher is the founder of Summer Maine, now City and Harbor Real Estate. She has 15 years of experience in the 15 plus years. How long have you been in the industry?
About 20 years.
Okay, so about 20 years of experience in real estate and vacation rentals. She has deep roots in our Midcoast Maine community, which we're very, very fond of as well. And I'm just really, really looking forward to hearing about your story today, Fletcher. And, I'll just tell the listeners and viewers for today is that we're going to be talking about her story, that entrepreneurial journey, but also talk about the building of business real estate in Midcoast Maine. We're going to talk about community and leadership. We're going to talk about personal life and Maine lifestyles. Rapid fire questionnaire at the end, which is brand new for today.
Oh, great.
You're welcome. Yeah,
yes,
that's
I'm
right.
the guinea pig.
Yes, and I like it. You're good for that.
Yeah, I'm game for that. Yeah. I'm down.
So I'm just, I'm really looking forward to it. So give us a synopsis. What is the world of Fletcher?
That might be a different show. No, I'm just kidding. I grew up here in Tennants Harbor. My family is from here, and I went to the St. George School, and then I went away to New Jersey for boarding school, and didn't ever think I'd be back. I didn't think that this is the place that I wanted to live. Mm-hmm. But of course, I was 16 years old, and no one thinks this is the place that they want to live when they're 16, or really any place that they're coming from. So I really enjoyed my time away. I went to college out of state, and then I was working for a company outside of New York City, and I was commuting an hour a day. No, probably 2 hours a day to
gross.
Yeah, it was gross. It was really gross. To a cubicle where I had to ask someone, can I go to lunch? Can I do this? And I just realized that is not what I said. There has to be something more than this. I mean, this cannot be, the trajectory of my life. And so I decided to come back home to Maine. I had to eat a little crow coming home. My mom, you said, I told you you'd be back, and she was right. And I've been here ever since. That was around 2003 or 4, and here I am, still
Awesome.
Here.
Very cool. And we've had your partner in crime, MJ, on the show previously, and
Yes.
and I just say you got a great kid as well that goes to school with my girls, so she's pretty amazing. So nice work.
She is a pretty amazing kid. We lucked out. She kind of came out that way. So.
All right. So I'd love to just jump right into your story. So Can you take us back to the early days of Summer, Maine? What inspired you to launch your business at the kitchen table? Because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it really kind of did happen that way. When I came back to Midcoast Maine, I have a journalism degree, and I really love it, and I continue to love that that field, and it's very important to me, and the integrity of journalism is important to me. And I worked for, I don't know if you remember when Village Soup was K2BH. It was Click to Be Here. It was one of the first online newspapers. Mm-hmm. And they hired me as a staff reporter. And I remember when I got my first letter and how much they were going to pay me $25,000, and I had health insurance, and my dad almost cried. It was really, I still remember it to this day. And I loved that job. I worked in Camden, and then we moved to downtown Rockland. And why that job was important to me was it helped me reintegrate back into a community that I had been gone from for a long time. And even though I was covering, city council meetings and things like that, I was gravitating towards human interest stories. And that's kind of where my passion was. And that's where I got to meet a lot of people and learn how to tell a story and learn how to listen. Mm-hmm. And so even though I'm not in that field anymore, I think it gave me a lot of real world experience about how to interact with people, clients, listen, and tell their story. Because believe it or not, real estate is not just open houses and cookies and Instagram. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of relationship building and trust building. Mm-hmm. And so I was really glad for that experience. It also taught me how to use digital cameras because we were our own photographers. And I learned how to edit photos online in Photoshop. And so it was really this incredible precursor to a lot of the things I still use today in real estate. Yeah. It didn't really answer your question.
No, but no, it did, because it kind of like sets the stage of like how that started. Yes. So you had an idea. So how did the idea come about that you were going to help people with summer rentals or Summer Maine? Just what was that original business model?
Sure. So before I even did that, I got my real estate license. Okay. So I sort of did those two things on a parallel track. And so I did an in-person school for real estate rather than online. We didn't really have it back then. Right. And I would just say, sort of as an aside, anyone who's getting into real estate, if you can go to an in-person class, if you can go to a sort of more traditional classroom setting, it's being taught by people who have been in this industry and have been through the ebbs and flows, good and bad, for decades in a lot of instances. And that's just where you learn. You do not learn by watching, in my opinion. Sure. By just watching slides and clicking through them as fast as you can so you can take the test at the end. So I got my real estate license, and then I met this really incredible community member named Cindy Lang. And Cindy Lang's from St. George. She's a big supporter of community, and she had started a vacation rental company called Martinsville, Maine. And it was real small. She was sort of doing it for friends. But there was a hole in the market. There was no one doing sort of property management on that level. And it's a lot of work. And she sort of wanted to sunset her involvement. And she offered to sort of mentor me. And so from Martinsville, she had, I think 10 properties. So I had to change the name because Martinsville she wanted to keep, and that was sort of her brand. And she had her own rentals, and she wanted to keep it, and I completely understood that. But she taught me the ropes. And she would do things like make me get on the phone because I did not want to talk to people on the phone. Mm-hmm. And she said, no, you're just going to have to pick it up and talk to them. And so she basically was my vacation rental professor. And I cannot thank her enough. She really she was really an instrumental part of how this all started. So I was trying to come up with a new name, and I don't know. Do you know Melanie Trott? Who doesn't? Everyone should know Melanie Trott. She and I just started spitballing names, and we came up with Summer Maine because we wanted it to feel like a destination. Mm-hmm. And then we used pica in Belfast to help come up with the brand. And I just did it. I just launched it. We started with 15. We ended up with 150 at the very end of it. It's very, very hard work. Anyone who says it's not, because you have to serve two different, you are responsible to the owners, but you're also responsible to the renters. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those two things don't really meet in the middle.
That's true.
So that was sort of at the time where VRBO was coming online, HomeAway, all these online clearinghouses for vacation rentals. So I think that's one of the reasons it grew so quickly, because beforehand people would just call up and say, what do you have for July 31st through August 8th or whatever? And now I could put all of those houses online, and I could use my photography skills and I could use my writing skills to talk about how they felt and looked. And it really took off.
It was amazing. It was not a little business. It was a big business that you were running here. And it also made national headlines, or you made it to TV land as well. And I'll never forget, I was I know them. That's Fletcher.
Yeah.
I was watching, the Lottery Millionaire.
Lottery Dream Home.
Yeah, Lottery Dream Home. Yes. And I know that was such a great experience for you.
It really was. But I am horrible on television.
Oh, you did great, though.
No, I have to tell you, and my mother, if she's watching right now, will be like, she is. I should call in and tell them. There was a horrible incident on Channel 6. They were interviewing me for something, and I just blurted out words that didn't even make sense. So I'm not meant for television. Hopefully radio will go better. But, those were really, we made the New York Times as sort of a travel destination, mm-hmm. where to go if you want, who to talk to if you want to vacation in Maine, and that was a really exciting thing. And so I was also doing real estate, but at that point real estate kind of was a backseat. Mm-hmm. But the fact that I had two income streams and two businesses was really important, because I got my real estate license in 2006, and what happened in the years after that. Mm-hmm. Things really tanked.
Sure.
It was very fortunate, and I think it's one of the reasons that I'm still here, because I had another source of income to basically support me while real estate was sort of, writing itself.
Yeah. And, when Michael was on there, the theme of that conversation was with the main side hustle is that it's really, really important to diversify yourself as a small business owner, because you have to be able to have one thing that can raise you up when the other one is kind of pulling you down a little bit. Yeah. And just know that just seasonalities and the things that go on in small business, it's a constant pull, tug and pull type of situation. But
absolutely,
obviously you did it right, and here we are. So I'd love to get into the next segment, which is building a business in real estate in Midcoast Maine. So what sets City and Harbor Real Estate, which is the new entity name,
right?
So and what really sets you apart with some of the agencies in Maine, especially, I would just say, is that there was a boom a couple of years ago. It seemed like there was a realtor on every single corner. And I saw some stats here about how, the majority of realtors in Maine are not selling homes right now. Mm-hmm. But you guys are. So I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about, what sets you apart from some of the other agencies.
Well, I would like to say that we have a lot of really talented realtors in this area. I enjoy, it's wonderful to be able to say, if you see a house be listed, to say, oh, thank goodness they listed it, because you're going to have a collaborator who's going to do the same kind of work that you're going to do. Mm-hmm. So I think it's important to realize that every day is real estate school. You're never, ever done learning. about it. Because it changes every single day. You get a new problem every single day, or a new challenge, and we might need to reframe that. But I think that more than anything, creating trust, not just with a client that's right in front of you, but with the general public, creating an idea that you're a person that they can come to with any type of house, with any type of situation, and that it's going to be handled the same way, with the same level of respect and integrity and professionalism, regardless of if you have a $150,000 house or a $3 million house. Michael and I are going to treat it exactly the same. And that's actually been one of the challenges. I overheard a conversation the other day where someone did not know who I was and did not know that I sold real estate, and they were talking about City and Harbor. And they said, well, I'd like to use them, but I don't think they would take on our house. And it broke my heart, Chris.
Yeah.
Because of course I will. Of course I will. I mean, everyone needs a place to live. Everyone deserves respect and help, and that goes for houses too. And so that's one of the things that I want to make sure that I try to overcome. That we are, yes, we are high touch. Yes, we are super hands-on. Yes, I'm really bossy. And if you want that, I'm your girl. And a lot of people want that. Sure. Because it's overwhelming to sell your house and to move and to maybe buy another house, and if you have kids, to talk to them about, you'll have a new room, and I know you'll miss this room. I mean, we're going through this a little bit right now. But that we are, we don't have just one type of house or one type of client. And I think that's what we're trying to overcome right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. But you have to give yourself credit, though, is that people see like that brand as this prestigious brand because you guys have done such a wonderful job. So it's a compliment, but it's also the other side too. Because I've been there too, where people are like, well, you don't help small businesses. It's like, oh, no.
That's definitely what I do.
We are in it for all. That's why we're here.
Right.
So it's just really refreshing to be able to hear that from you. So I know Maine has seen a lot of growth in the short-term, rentals. I know it's a hot topic, especially like in Rockland and some of these other areas. Camden, like they're talking about the majority of homes that are owned are Airbnbs. But I think it's a little dramatic. But I know it's definitely out there. It's really, really big. We have a lot of people that purchase, a lot of real estate. They're doing this vacation rental. So you guys kind of transition out of that vacation rental because you had like a business relationship with Vacasa.
Right. Right. So my real estate, our real estate practice evolved and got bigger. I had really excellent staff. I had Molly Hooper and Jen Maynard. And Jen Maynard, who is a Rockland native, Thomaston Rockland native, she started working for me a long time ago at Summer, Maine, even before Charlie was born. So that's now like 14 years ago. And she started in the cleaning crew, and she was a person, and this is a little bit of I digress, but I think it's important to talk about this. Talk about people who support you and then support them. Mm-hmm. She always showed up. She never called out. She just was this reliable person. And I said, Jen, it just really dawned on me that this is a person you don't want to let go. And so Jen started coming in the office and doing filing. And, fast forward 12 years, Jen is running Summer, Maine.
That's awesome.
And then we bring on Molly Hooper, who is a local too, who has a lot of experience in the vacation rental market. But Michael and I were so busy with real estate. This is about, starting about 5-6 years ago, that we just, it was overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And so we had an offer from Vacasa, which was a really large corporation, to buy Summer, Maine, to buy the brand, to buy everything, not the real estate practice, but the brand of the portfolio, basically, of Summer Homes. And we decided to sell. And that was sad. I was sad because that was my baby. That was my first baby.
Yeah.
And, but it ended up being the right decision. And so we did sell to Vacasa. And so we had to change the name because now we're just doing real estate.
Right.
And even though we still have our hands in some, vacation rental pieces, Jen Maynard and Molly Hooper started a vacation rental company of their own.
Oh, wow.
So that's really cool because now I have a company that I can refer, my clients to that I feel really good about because
Awesome.
we all practice things the same way. So now I don't even remember what the question
Well, no. I mean, you nailed it for sure. So, with the landscaping changing so much, we know that there's a housing shortage.
Yes.
Affordable housing, right? We have vacation rentals that are, being bought
Right.
and sold, and so the landscape has changed. So how do you adapt to that?
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is that yes, we have a housing crisis that needs to be addressed immediately. We also have a history of being a destination, and so this idea that that vacation rentals, summer houses, can't be here. I just don't think that that's a real feasible option. And I was on a short-term ad hoc short-term committee for the city of Rockland for a long time to try to talk about how we can find middle ground between people who oppose short-term rentals and people who are pro short-term rentals. And there were people on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. And one of the most rewarding experiences that I've ever had is being able to find consensus amongst people who were so polarized. And we presented that, this is probably, I don't know, 6 years ago. It's a long time ago. We presented our findings to the city council at the time, which is not this current city council. And it was very frustrating because nothing was done with it. It was basically like, thanks for dedicating the last 2 years, missing kids' games, missing dinners, missing time with your family, and we appreciate it, but it's going to slide this right over here. It was so frustrating. And there's a lot of hyperbole around short-term rentals. They're sort of this, it's the low-hanging fruit of of the housing crisis. And there's ways to find middle ground. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people disagree with me. But I don't think that we can just say to someone, well, this, you own this house, but this is what you can't do this with this house. You can't do this. What if someone needs to, let me just give you for instance. What if someone inherits a house from their parents that has been in their family for a really, really long time, and they live out of state, and they do not want to give up that house because it means a lot to them, because it was their parents' house, and their parents, moved in there when they got married, and eventually they might want to live here, or one of their brothers or sisters wants to live here year-round, but they're working out of state because they're just like us, and in order to pay taxes, which are pretty expensive around here, and upkeep and maintenance, they have to rent it out. Mm-hmm. And the argument is, well, they can rent it long-term. But that's not feasible for a lot of people because overhead is so expensive. Right. And so that's where you get into this sort of quagmire of affordable housing, which no one can argue that we should have housing that everyone can afford. Mm-hmm. But putting that on a private citizen to supplement that when they might not necessarily be able to, because what if their carrying costs are $2,000 a month? Mm-hmm. They can't necessarily afford to rent it for $1,500 because it costs them $2,000. And I'm being very general here, and I know there are nuances, and people could bring up things, and I could say, you know what, I hadn't thought about that. You're right, and I'm perfectly willing to have that conversation. But it really comes down to to that when it comes to short-term rentals.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not easy. It's not cheap to borrow money right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be more expensive for you to get into that business. So your expertise, I'm sure, goes a long ways when you're coaching your new
Coach
clients.
Fletch. I never even thought about that, considering I never
Look
have
at your
played.
whistle.
Well, you don't want to do that. No one wants you to do that. Michael is listening right now and is hoping you don't give me a whistle.
So what do you think small business owners and entrepreneurs play in shaping the future of Midcoast?
Well, I mean, Midcoast is small business. I mean, and it's always been like that. Any sort of working waterfront is small business. So we have to embrace it. We have to support it, and we have to allow people to find their way, because it is really hard to make a living here. It is really hard to make a living here, and I don't think we should make it harder. But people have to understand that it's not going to happen overnight. When you're growing a business, when you're starting a business, it is a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. And it is complete dedication. I mean, if it's something you really, really want to make happen, it is working all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. You just I was raised by people who said, if you want it, you go get it and make it happen for yourself. Mm-hmm. And I'm really grateful for that. I started mowing lawns because my parents, my dad was a lobsterman, and he got in a really horrible car accident and couldn't fish. And so they had to diversify. They had to figure out another way to make a living. And one of those was a lawn mowing business called Motown, which
Wow. I love that.
Yeah.
Motown. I can see the
It was awesome. But it was basically my mom, my dad, me, and some kids that we hired in the summer. And my dad was so funny because he had a lot of hearing loss from the diesel engine on his boat. And so we had these huge earmuffs because he was really worried that I was going to lose my hearing. He didn't know that underneath I had headphones, and now I feel really proud of it because he was just trying to protect me. But, that was, if you want to live here, mm-hmm. and you just have to figure out how to make it work and then make it work. So
as part of it, and I apologize to our viewers and listeners, I transitioned to our next segment, which is basically community and leadership. Okay. So my apologies. I kind of jumped on that one question there without that transition. But, when I talk about community and leadership, we talk about how to, one of the common themes that we talk about is how important it is to be involved in your community. And I know that you're super involved. I know that you serve on several boards, Trekkers, right? Maine's Women's Network, Henry Knox Museum, Rockland Short-Term Rental Task Force. Why is community involvement so important to you?
Well, I sort of have to defer to the fact that I grew up in a household where volunteering and being involved in your community was just sort of what you did. It was another aspect of your life and another aspect of living here, because that's just how you make it work. I honestly feel like it's just something you're supposed to do. I get a lot of joy from it. I get a lot of satisfaction. It's a great way to meet people. It's a great way to meet people you might not necessarily run into in your everyday life, mm-hmm. Which I think is really important because you should know all types of people and you should have them in your life because diversity enriches your life. And people from different walks of life enrich your life. And so that's a great opportunity to meet people like that. And I also, that was modeled for me and my family, and I want to model it for my child, mm-hmm. So that she understands that it's not just about making money. It's not just about being, success is measured in 1,000 different ways. And one of the most important ways is how you give back to the place that raised you, or in the place that's supporting you right now. And one of the things that I decided this year, my New Year's resolution was, I really want to do more hands-on stuff. Being on a board is very important, and I know, but I want to get my hands dirty. I want to do something where and so that's kind of where I'm gravitating towards. And I don't care what it looks like. I don't care if it's, setting up cots in the warming center, which I am so proud that I was not part of that, but I'm so proud that we live in a community where that became an important thing.
Sure.
So that, I think, the more that we can encourage people, especially young people, to just get their hands dirty and help out, it is 1,000 times better than any paycheck that I've ever gotten. I mean, paychecks are real nice, but it's soul satisfying. That's a Michael McNaboe word. It's soul satisfying, and that is what makes your internal garden grow.
That's awesome. This week actually did a blog on the balance of basically running a business and balancing life in general. And it has been a topic that we talk about almost every single episode. It's how hard it is to be able to balance. So, Fletcher, it'd be really awesome for our listeners and viewers to be able to understand is that how do running a business with being so involved in the community, how do you make it work? Because you're a mom, you and your spouse are doing some really cool adventures. You're doing all this nonprofit work, you're volunteering on these boards, and you're running a successful business. How do you balance it all?
I don't know if I do. I mean, you absolutely have to prioritize. And so one of the things that I have really appreciated about this business that I'm in is that, because when it comes to Charlie, who's my daughter, I always say to anyone who wants to work with me or wants me to volunteer, if it comes between something that's happening for Charlie at school and me doing this, I am always going to prioritize Charlie's school event or Charlie's event, because she's going to grow up and I can work when she is 18 and 19 and 20, but right now she really, really needs me and really needs her parents and her community. And so Charlie, my child, for me, is the absolute priority. And it's, as she gets older, I lament the fact that I worked so much when she was growing up, when she was real little. But I think every working parent feels that way.
I mean, when we're younger, we have to,
right,
in order to be able to provide for our families.
That's right.
It's an investment.
It's so, and now, she used to want me to tuck her in and now she's like, well, Mom, when are you leaving my room? And that is, I worry about that, because I feel like, did I rush through that because I was just so driven to be successful at work. Yeah. And so the work-life balance is something that I am particularly bad at. I work all the time. And I think that you could talk to any of my family or my friends and they would say, yeah, she pretty much just works all the time. But one of the things that I enjoy about this job is, for example, last night Charlie had soccer at the pitch, and I had an hour and a half where the phone doesn't work inside there because it's a metal building. And so
true story.
It's a true story.
Yeah, your cell phone will die in there.
That's right. Your cell phone will die. And I just work for an hour and a half. I make a list of things that are priorities, and I communicate with my clients and say, listen, I'm going to have an hour and a half from 5 to 6:30 tonight, and that's when you're going to hear from me. I will send you. So I over communicate, I think, with my clients to let them know what's happening in my personal life, so that they don't think that I'm just not getting back to them. And sometimes they say, you don't have to tell me all this. And I'd rather have them say that than, where have you been? Mm-hmm. So my work-life balance is something I'm really working on. I'm sure that you have the same conversation with Lindsay. Michael and I have the same conversation. one of the great things is that Michael and I work together and live together. And so when I have to do something, he can pick up my slack and vice versa. So it is really helpful. It is really helpful.
It's huge.
To have someone who has, you know, I mean, we have the same skill set, but Michael has skills that I don't have and vice versa. So it's been really helpful for us to be able to diversify in that way.
Last question before we go to the next segment. So, you know, what role do you think small business owners and entrepreneurs play in shaping the future of Midcoast? How can we get involved? Like, what would be the first step that you would give to someone?
Well, one of the things is that when you're an entrepreneur, you kind of are operating in a little bit of a bubble, right? You're sort of in a vacuum because all you're doing is you're getting up, your feet hit the floor, and what do I have to accomplish today? And you keep your head down and you just get it done. And so it's easy to not talk to other people. It doesn't even have to be in the same field. It could be other entrepreneurs, you know, and recognize that probably some of the challenges that you're having are the challenges that everyone around you is having too. And so I think one of the things that I think we need to start doing is talk to each other. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't have to, and I don't know how that forum looks, but it feels a whole lot better when you're not, when you know that someone else is having the same challenge that you're having.
Sure.
Because they might have a different perspective on it and might be able to say, well, have you tried this? And you never even thought about it. So talk, and that's kind of when it comes back to community. You know, when we're talking, the business community, sometimes people think that we have to keep these little trade secrets to ourselves. I don't want them to know that I'm doing that. But it's stone soup, right? You know, you don't have anything and then you've got a boiling pot of water, but someone brings an onion, someone brings a carrot, someone says, oh, I have some celery. And then all of a sudden, people just give these little tiny tidbits, these little tiny, whatever they can bring to the table. And all of a sudden you have this incredible soup that you can share with everybody. And I think that that's what we need to start getting back to, that sharing your problems does not mean, or your challenges does not mean weakness.
That is absolutely correct. Networking is a great way to be able to do that. And I know that you and Michael are huge networkers, and anytime that you have the opportunity to get in front of people, you do it. That's really important. But also too, is that so many business owners put themselves into the silo and they think that they are the best thing that's ever happened. And anyone that does anything that they do would be considered the enemy. Mm-hmm. I do not see that in your life with realtors, okay? Like your fellow peers in the marketplace. Like, I see that there's a strong community. You know, I'll go to the dry dock and I'll see a bunch of you all sitting around a table and enjoying each other's companies. Why is that so important? You know, why build relationships with people who could potentially get that next listing that you don't get?
My best friend in the entire world I have a college roommate who's my closest friend, but my best friend, Melanie Trott, is a competitor.
Right.
She's
going to be on the show.
I know, I can't wait. She's going to be great. And I have a lot of friends who are realtors. And they could take business away from me, but they're good at it too. And we're just better together. And there's enough for all of us. There really is.
Right. There's
enough for all of us. And I have made it a point when I see another realtor sell something, if they post on Facebook, good job, you deserve it. I mean, it's just collaboration, community.
Huge.
It just creates goodwill, and there is nothing bad comes from goodwill. Nothing bad.
So now we're going to transition, but thank you very much for those points. So important. So we're going to go into, because it's life balance conversation that I love having with my guests, personal life and Maine lifestyle. So you live between Rockland and Tenants Harbor with your husband, daughter, and 3 dogs. What does a perfect day in Midcoast Maine look like for you?
Well, it's not February, okay? Let's just start there.
Slippery.
It's not almost dying on the walk to the car because you've got the wrong shoes on. Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, I really have to we're big boaters. We love being on the water. And Michael, my husband, is an incredible boat captain. And so it's very nice. I'm basically just a passenger.
Awesome.
I'm not really very good at being a deckhand. I call the fenders bumpers, and he really hates that. Like, it's really like they're not bumpers. And I was like, well, I think they are bumpers, but so I think our perfect day would be getting up early, convincing Charlie that she wants to go on the boat with us, which is very difficult. So let's just stipulate to the fact that she's agreed to come on a boat with us. Yeah. And we love to go to Stonington. And going through the Fox Island Thoroughfare, and it is never not beautiful. And it's always surprising. And even though you've done it, you maybe have seen it 10 times, it's never not beautiful. So we like to just go to Stonington, have lunch there. We've made friends there just for no reason at all, just because, and then come home and the sun is setting and you're exhausted from the salt and the wind and the sun. And it's early bed with the windows open because you hear all the things going on. And just knowing that you spent the day outside and you didn't necessarily have to spend a lot of money except for the gas for the boat, which we'll talk about some other time. But that's kind of what our perfect day is.
So this is Willowmere?
Well, we sold Willowmere because
you sold it. Okay.
We love Willowmere, but we needed something that's a little bit, now we have, it's also the name of our next real estate company when we move to Georgia, when we want to know. But it's called Pines to Palms.
Oh. Like it.
Yeah, so that's the name of our new boat. We needed something that was a little bit more zippy because Willowmere was beautiful, but it took us a long time to get anywhere.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice comfort boat.
So now we have a whaler. It's about, I think it's 38 feet. And Michael was like, I think we need a different kind of boat. And I said, fine, I just want it to have a head on it. So that was my only stipulation. It goes really fast. We get to Tennant's Harbor. We like to go to Tennant's Harbor in the summertime too. And we get there in about half an hour. It's pretty nice.
That's pretty awesome. So you're an avid runner and skier. So what are your favorite local spots for getting outside? Because we're talking about this whole life-work balance. Personal care is huge.
Yes. So, I mean, for me, this time of year, I'm not running outside. But I have a really incredible fitness community at Hybrid Fitness at the MAC, which is in Warren. So that's something that is very important to me to get some exercise. And I know that's important to you and Lindsay too. But even, in the summertime, I just like to run around town because when you are walking to a destination rather than driving in a car, you are part of something, and you see people and you stop and talk to people, and it's like this whole idea about the siloed, you keep your head down, you're in a bubble. Right. But if you are running around town, people say, hey, I saw you running the other day. It's a conversation starter. It's just a way to become more involved. And so I don't really care where I run or walk. I just like to just be part of something.
You keep on serving me like softballs here, which is awesome for my next question for you. And that is, do you think being active and connected to the outdoors plays a role in how you approach business?
Well, I know that exercise keeps me from wanting to strangle Michael. Just kidding. Just kidding. That's a joke. No.
It's an excellent stress reliever.
It's a really, no. And I'm sure he would feel the same way about me. But no, I'm just kidding. I really do. I think that it's about this work-life balance thing. I think that physical activity is so important because it really helps with stress levels. And I've had to revisit that because it's really easy to say, I don't have time for that today. But that's saying I don't have time for myself. That's saying I don't have time for the one thing that is the engine that keeps things going. Because if I don't take care of that, it's going to fall apart, and then I can't work, and then I can't make a living. And so I really do think that for anyone who is in small business or working, period, it is okay to take an hour out of the entire day for yourself. And and I think it needs to be a priority as much as, meeting with clients, as much as answering emails. It needs to be part of your daily routine.
Yeah. Routine is very, very important. Structure, routine, however you want to do that. So, as our viewers and our audience continues to grow, there's a lot of people who've never been to Midcoast, so we're going to say, come visit.
Yes.
Because it's what happens, you visit, and then it becomes destination home.
Right.
And you talked about that. So any hidden gems that you'd like to share for anyone visiting for the first time, or maybe somebody that's coming back and just wants something different to go do? Like
Sure.
A hidden gem in Midcoast, Maine.
Well,
I think you talked about one on the boat.
Well, I got to tell you, I grew up on Clark Island, on the Clark Island Road. And one of my first jobs was at the Craignair Inn. And so it's always been an incredible little spot. But what the new owners have done, Greg and Lauren, with the Craignair and the Clark Bar, and it has transformed that little spot. And the fact that it's adjacent to Clark Island, which is purchased by Maine Coast Heritage Fund, I think that's what it's called. And it is this just oasis. There's sandy beaches, there's a quarry, there's hiking trails, it is an amazing thing that has a gift that's been given to the public. So I would say, and my mom is probably going to be mad because she'll say, oh, there's more traffic now because you brought it up, but I'm just kidding. So I would say that going to the end of the peninsula, going to the Craignair, to visit that spot is something that everyone should do. And, I love these little hidden gems, these little hidden places. Southport Island has, I can't think of the name of it right now. It is, I cannot believe it, but it's this restaurant that has a pier. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Right when you cross over the Bridge.
Right. It's a drawbridge, and
Yes.
It's called Tug's Pub, but Tug's Pub is in a bigger restaurant, and they have live music, and people come on boats and eat and listen to the music and go to the bar at the end.
Special.
It is a really special place. So my advice would be rent a car and just drive to a place that you have never been. It might be at the end of the earth, but that's usually where the best places are.
Yeah, anything that's on a peninsula, because most people just drive right past it.
That's right.
Peninsula is like this dirty word, but actually it is the hidden gems of Maine Coast.
And we've got so many of them.
All right, so rapid fire question.
Oh, no, okay.
Oh, this is awesome. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
Fun, quick round for the audience to be able to hear maybe some of your likes or dislikes. We'll find out. Lobster roll, butter or mayo?
Mayo, canes only. Do not bring any Hellmann's at me. Do not put celery in it. I just want mayonnaise and lobster. Thanks.
Would you recommend someone stand in line at Red's Eats?
Well, I have never done it. And, right across the way, there's no line at Sprague's, and they're doing just as good of a job.
Thank you very much. Awesome. Favorite season in Maine?
Fall.
Okay. Not summer,
No.
but fall.
Fall. Getting a little too hot here for me. Kidding.
One book or podcast every entrepreneur should check out?
Oh, jeepers. One book or podcast. It's not about business. It's called The Places That Scare You.
Okay.
And it's just about sort of facing your fears head on and welcoming them in, saying, yeah, I'm really afraid about this. This is really scary to me. Come on in, sit down, let's talk about it. And that's not a person, that's yourself. So I would recommend that.
Morning person or a night owl?
Morning person.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Dream vacation outside of Maine?
Beckwith, which is this island that used to be this whaling island. And it's just I don't even know where it is. I heard about it a long time ago. People go all the time. I think it might be in the Dutch West Indies, but I could be completely wrong. That's where I want to go.
Okay.
And Pompeii, but I heard it's overrun it's too touristy now, but I'm obsessed with archaeology. And so I'd like to go to Pompeii.
That's awesome. All right, Fletcher, thank you so much for answering a lot of these great questions today. So where can people find and learn more about City and Harbor Real Estate?
You can go to our website. It's cityandharbor.com, or you can just call me.
Awesome. And where are you located now?
We are located for local people, at the old MBNA building. It's in the south end of Rockland. It's called the Breakwater Marketplace, I think now. Is that what it's called?
No, that would be...
Oh, no, that's over at Van Balen's.
That's right. That's right. So that's where UMA... Right, that's
right.
their other building.
So what is it? Rockland Harbor?
Yeah, Rockland Harbor Park.
Isn't that sad that, like,
I know. I'm trying to get used to it.
I'm trying to get used to it.
We're going to be neighbors.
I know. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Can we just talk a little bit about the secret door that I want to create between our offices?
I put that into our build request. But yes,
Right.
Can you please let the listeners know, because I've talked about this with my wife, and she thinks I'm weird.
So we moved our offices from Main Street to 12 Water Street, which is in the south end of Rockland, into a great new building. And we have a shared wall. And what I'd like to do is make like a bookcase that is on either side, and we have a secret knock, and then I can go into your office and hang out with you through the secret bookcase. What do you think?
I think we should. I mean, why not, right?
I think it's a great idea.
I
feel like it's Clue. You know, Clue, they have the secret staircases.
Yeah, we have to do the secret knock, so that way we have the knockbacks, that way we know it's clear and that we're not in a private meeting.
That's right. There's a lot of work to be done there, not just with the actual construction.
So Sarah Hiller's listening right now.
Sarah, get on it. I know you're not doing anything right now. She's so lazy.
Oh boy. Any upcoming projects or events that you're excited about?
Well, I mean, I am excited about the Lobster Festival. I've gotten involved in that a lot because I do the food tent where I am cooking all the seafood, which is really a bad idea, but I'm getting better. So I'm excited about that because it's just such a community thing. The whole community coalesces around the Lobster Festival. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited. We are going to try to expand our business practice down south. We have a place in Georgia now. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things coming up as we pivot and grow, and it's always something new.
Well, the good news is that you guys will be closer to Gainesville to go to those Florida games, because that's it.
Yeah, I don't know much about football, but I do know that I hate the Gators.
That was my little jab at it.
Yeah, I know. Go Dogs.
Yeah, it's fun. Oh, nice.
I'm just at the football games for the hot dogs, so I don't know anything else what's happening. So,
as we wrap up, I always ask this question: is what would you tell the young Fletcher? What advice would you give the younger self?
Please do not worry so much, and do not cry so much, because this too shall pass, and everything's not insurmountable. And I just felt everything so deeply. People would get, you'd get a client who was angry at you, and I would just be devastated. And it still matters to me if someone's upset, but it's not, there's ways around it. It's not insurmountable. You can fix it, and just take it easy. It's okay. It's okay. Have you ever heard that song Vienna by Billy Joel?
Probably have.
Okay, listen to it. That's what I would tell the younger.
I just got a Billy Joel vinyl.
Oh,
added,
sweet.
So yeah, it's a great set. So
all right, yeah, that's a good one.
All right, good stuff. Well, Fletcher, thank you so much for being an amazing guest today, and I'm sure you're going to inspire so many people, especially someone who wants to inspire to be in real estate.
Come talk to me. Come talk to me. I'll tell you all of it.
Exactly. But also just being an entrepreneur, right? So it starts with a simple dream. And next thing you know, here you are. And so congratulations on your amazing growth. What a great business that you have. Please connect with Fletcher if you haven't. And please follow them on their Facebook and all the wonderful things that they do to get the word out about all the work that they do. So just want to thank you again for coming on. Thank you, listeners. You can catch this show every single Tuesday from 7 to 8 a.m. on WRFR 93.3. You can live stream at the WRFR.org website. So next week, we're going to have some more great guests coming your way. So stay tuned for that. If you would like to be part of this show, we would love to have you on. Please reach out to the Rock Coast Entrepreneurs through their Facebook page, and you can message us and just say, hey, I want to be on the show. Or you can directly reach out to me, Chris Austin at Ardea. And also just wanted to say, sponsors, thank you again for such great support. I know Ardea supports this show. We need more sponsors for this really cool gem of a studio. I know Fletcher and so many guests have come in and say, this is so cool that we have it right here. It's underutilized. Please get the word out there. They could really utilize your support in the station so that way they can be here in the future as well. Thank you again, everyone. Have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you very much, Fletcher.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Chris.
it.